Howdy, folks. Is Val Mike here, and well, since NB's here and he wanted to talk about it, well, it's in the headline, so it is something I wanted to talk about too. You like the fact that one of those judges was arrested this week?
No, actually, I like the fact that both those judges were arrested. I absolutely love it. Hey, no
So
one's
hold on. I want to.
No one's above the law. Remember?
No, hold on. We have to explain what happened.
No, I don't have to explain what happened.
Yes, we have to explain what happened because that provides context.
You have to explain what happened.
What happened was there was a hearing involving someone who was illegal, but not on, and it was not a immigration hearing. Now, somebody in the courtroom claimed to be part of ICE, refused to show a badge or warrant, and wanted to arrest that man in her courtroom, and she denied it.
That ain't what I've heard.
I know that's what you didn't hear because you don't actually watch the videos. I mean, it was literally being videoed.
I do watch the videos.
So you saw the fact that people were trying to block that person because he refused to show a badge. He refused to show a warrant.
I think you're getting two different issues mixed up because I'm pretty sure I know the video you're talking about. I think you're talking about two different.
Did they show a warrant to the judge?
Okay.
In the courtroom, the judge has the key, right?
All right. Are you going to let me speak? Because I think you're talking about two different fucking.
All right. The one we're talking about, the one we talked about beforehand, Hannah Dugan, did the arresting officer provide her with a warrant?
Okay. First off, here's what I'm talking about when I'm saying this. I think I'm fairly confident you're conflating two different stories together because there was a video.
It's possible.
Because there is a video that I did see where these people said they were detaining this person for deportation in a courtroom. Yes, I saw that video. I saw no badges, no warrants. I was like, okay, even I said this is fucked up. That's a totally different case.
That was one of them. Now, specifically referring to the Hannah when we're talking about in Wisconsin.
Well, you're conflating two different things here.
But the one in Hannah Dugan's case, the arresting person still did not provide her with a signed warrant.
No. What she did was she went outside, she found out ICE was outside, went out there, berated them, and then escorted the illegal out the back.
Yes.
Actually, both you guys are incorrect on that situation. She did not escort anybody out of the courtroom. The thing went like this: Judge Dugan asked the deportation officer if he had a judicial warrant. The officer said, "No, I have an administrative warrant." Judge Dugan stated that the deportation officer needed a judicial warrant. The deportation officer told Judge Dugan that the deportation officer A was in a public space and had a valid immigration warrant. Judge Dugan asked to see the administration warrant, and deportation officer offered to show it to her. It was not signed by a judge. She did not escort the person out. She told them to go through this door, which was a staff door, which led to a public hallway. The ICE agents passed them, went directly to the judge. They arrested her. Can I finish?
Let him finish.
She told them to leave the courtroom while she figured out the situation of the warrant. They said no. They arrested her. They tracked down the guy in a public place and arrested him as well. This is what happened. She did not escort anybody. She told them to leave while she assesses the warrant in her courthouse.
Did she not have the illegal leave her courtroom to be ahead of the ICE agents? Yes or no?
She had everybody leave the courtroom.
No, she didn't. No, she didn't. She only had them.
And hold on. One, it was not a legal warrant in her courtroom, correct?
Correct. It was signed. It's not signed by a judge.
Are they federal agents?
No, a warrant has to be signed by a federal judge.
Federal agency.
Judge. A judge has to sign it for a warrant to be valid, not an agent. Otherwise, the police officer can say, "Okay, I have a warrant to arrest your ass," without a judge's sign.
Actually, there's more than that. There's
hold on.
cause.
The warrant was not signed by a judge.
No, hold on.
Okay, I don't know if the warrant was signed by a judge. I haven't seen the fucking warrant. You got a copy of the warrant?
The judge herself said it wasn't signed by a proper judge, and it wasn't the proper kind of warrant.
The judge. I'm gonna believe the judge.
I'm going to believe a fucking judge.
You are
because I know you know who knows the law.
Oh God! Don't even start saying
fucking judges.
Oh really? Then how come we have a rogue Supreme Court? According
no, we don't.
Well, the left sure thinks so. The rogue Supreme Court.
No, the Supreme Court's job is to interpret the law. That's what they're supposed to do.
Job is. I know damn well.
Whether we like their interpretation is really,
irrelevant. It's not relevant whether we agree with it or not.
Now,
their job is to interpret
when inside of a courtroom, do you know who has the authority to arrest anyone in that courtroom?
Oh, Jesus Christ. Do you know how many times I've been arrested?
Okay, but how many times
I've been in?
Who is the only person allowed to arrest somebody within the confines of a courtroom?
I don't know.
The fucking bailiff.
Okay, you know what? I wasn't thinking about trying to get
federal agents. It doesn't fucking matter.
Oh, it doesn't matter?
Yes. The only person that is supposed to have authority to arrest inside of a courtroom is a fucking bailiff. You don't have a federal agent go inside of a courtroom to arrest anybody. Period.
I could tell they didn't go into the courtroom and arrest anybody except the judge after the fact.
No, they also arrested the person they were going after once they got to a public space.
Yeah, they arrested the guy that was at a public space, and they arrested the judge for obstruction.
No.
Even the left is saying that this is a pretty weak case for her. Okay, I've been watching this thing. Yes. Don't shake your head at me.
No, because
don't act like one of those people.
No, because a judge is required to make sure that everybody within her courtroom or his courtroom in this sorry for the gender thing, is treated equally under the eyes of the law, correct?
I don't know. I'm not a fucking judge. I've never been a judge.
Oh, but you can tell me exactly what she did wrong because you're not a judge.
I can tell you based on everything I've read, based on everything I've seen, based on all the evidence I've seen, yes, she obstructed federal agent.
Okay.
You cannot obstruct federal agent.
Okay, you're the judge.
In a federal court or a state court?
This is what was it, state court?
Boom. Right there.
Okay. Does the federal government have anything to say in a state court?
Yeah.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Okay. You're a judge in a state court.
No, I'm not a judge. I'm not a judge at all.
We're going to do a metaphor here, okay?
No, we're not going to do a metaphor because I'm not going to play I'm not playing a hypothetical game.
All right. If you're not going to do it right, because if you're not going to do the hypotheticals, then you're not going to be on this freaking thing because you're not going to have anything to explain to us if you're not going to play. Because basically, if I'm in the court, if I'm a judge, and say an FBI agent walks into my court, and at the time, the person on the witness stand is, a witness. The FBI agent doesn't get to arrest the witness because they committed a crime. You don't get to do that. That's not how the justice system works in this country. It's not how it should work in this country. When you are in a courtroom, you are supposed to be safe until the court session is over. Period. I'm sorry. I know you don't like that idea, MB. You want it so that any person who can be fucking arrested because they're fucking brown in this country, because you've been told and brainwashed that brown people are fucking bad, that illegals are fucking bad. They're not.
The point of a federal warrant for immigration is it needs to be signed by a federal judge. Fact. The warrant was not signed. The warrant was not signed by a federal judge. It was signed by an agent, which means the same equivalency of a police officer walking up to you saying, "My buddy signed a arrest warrant for your arrest." He's not a judge, but I have an arrest warrant for your arrest. That's the exact same fucking principle. It's not a judge. It's an officer. Yeah. It's a cop who signed it.
Yeah. Imagine having a cop walk up to you saying he has a warrant for your arrest that he himself signed. What the fuck are you just going to, bend over and say, "Go ahead and arrest me"? And then of course you're not going to get any due process right now, so you're going to go straight to a detention facility. I mean, this is what is happening right now, NB. That's what we are against. I don't care if that guy was a fucking murderer at that point. You need to have the rule of law actually apply equally to everybody. You can't treat certain groups of people differently because you don't like them, that you've been told that they are bad. And here's the difference, okay? I finally started watching Daredevil, Born Again. And I have no idea if anyone actually likes this show. I've only watched the first 3 episodes. And I cannot help but compare it to fucking what's going on right now.
Dude, the Daredevil Roundtable last week, we was talking about this, and I was totally shocked that the writers of Daredevil Born Again Simpsonized it. I'm like, this is exactly what's going on with the current administration. Subduing due process, subduing the press. I'm like, what the hell?
It's almost a 1-to-1 parallel, and I can't understand how nobody on the right seems to get it. A person is elected who's an obvious criminal, who has committed multiple crimes, but gets popular with the uneducated and is able to get elected. He blames all the problems of them, of their area, in this case, New York, on a minority group. We know that the minority group is mostly innocent. Are they all innocent? No. But most of them are good, and they're a net benefit to those around them. Migrants, vigilantes. Now, they then go skirt due process that actually happened in the show. The guy is found innocent, and then literally hire somebody else, someone not in the government, in this case, similar to the Oath Keepers, or the, what was the guy that helped arrest that one guy that I showed the video for last week, Elihu?
I think it was the Oath Keeper or Truth Seeker, one of those two.
Yeah.
Or Proud Boys, one of the groups.
Yeah. So he's not even a fucking member of ICE or anything, the federal government, but he's helping to arrest brown people, similar to how the guy who got hired to shoot the vigilante in the head. Because they wanted to skirt the law. And at the same time, Wilson Fisk claims to be the person of law and order, wants to uphold law and order, whereas he's ham-tying the police department because he's not providing them the adequate funding that they want. Same way that Trump diverted funding from ICE, from the Border Patrol, from training and hiring to fund his fucking border wall, and he used the idea to limit their funding on hiring and training so he can justify bringing down the National Guard. I mean, it's a 1-to-1 fucking parallel. And if you're still listening, if you're going in and watching those first 3 episodes and saying, well, Wilson Fisk is my guy, remember, we know that he's the bad guy. He's not the good guy. But if you're watching that and you're saying, well, he's my guy, then you know that you're the problem.
I was curious about what other judge NB was talking about, because I don't know about
There
Dugan.
was a second judge in Louisiana, but I know less about that one.
Yeah, I was kind of curious about that, about NB, because I only heard about Dugan. Like, what other judge?
To go back to the comments a little bit, because I needed to go on my little speech. Sorry.
The comments? Oh, I didn't even pull out the chat. Shit. Oh, hey, Richie. Hey, Dandelion. Sorry.
No, there was somebody who finally, I didn't briefly read a headline. I didn't read the article. Someone has finally written up articles of impeachment, Dandelion. Yeah, and what blows my mind about that, Richie, is the sexual abuse stuff. I still have people who defend him, even after I've shown them the clip where he says in his deposition from the Eugene Carroll case, yes, I sexually assaulted her, but it wasn't rape because she enjoyed it. And I'm like, you have a daughter. Would you, if your daughter's rapist said that, would you be like, well, he must go? Well, I guess she enjoyed it, so he's got to go free. Because that was fucking Trump.
Richie, every election he loses, it's rigged. When he wins, we won big. If he loses, we lost. It's rigged.
Well, it's probably going to be unlikely, as Republicans still have hold right now. And I don't see the modern GOP having enough of a backbone to stand up to Trump, because they know that it'll ruin their base. Even if they don't like the guy, they're going to stand with him because, fuck, they can't risk losing all the bigots that are supporting Trump.
Yeah, that's why he wants loyalists.
Yeah. And yeah, I kind of agree with you there. If he's going to follow the, sorry, let me bring it up. I think a lot of those elections they're already setting the framework. They're going to say, there's more corruption again, despite the fact that there was so little corruption before. They're going to say, there's going to be a lot of people, votes that shouldn't be counted, mail-in voting, which I still don't understand why they're so against mail-in voting if they're pro-military when 90% of military votes are mail-in.
Does he understand the reason why? Does he understand the reason why we went to electronics?
Sorry, hold on. Hold on. I want to correct myself, Elihu. Not 90% of military are mail-in. 90% of deployed votes, military votes are mail-in. So these are literally the people who are fighting for our freedom, and those are the votes that he says that shouldn't be counted.
And the Republicans were the ones who were enforcing the getting rid of the paper ballots because of the hanging Chad.
Well, remember, they're the ones who were really, they wanted the hanging Chads. They're the ones saying that the hanging Chads were the reason the ballot shouldn't count in the first place.
Yeah, because they wanted the electronics saying, hey, we'll make sure every single vote counts. This is stupid.
All right, I'm gonna do this real quick, but I'm not gonna say he's gonna stay this time. All right, MB, I prevent you with a warrant for your arrest. Are you gonna submit?
No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking.
Okay, then we're gonna let you not stay this time. All right, so.
Dude, I'm actually curious about what he was going to say if he's not going to talk about that. If we want to talk about the other judge,
I don't care right now, because if you're going to argue that an illegal warrant should be upheld, then we have nothing to agree on right now. I mean, the warrant was illegal from any standard point. If the judge is going to support or is going to fight an illegal thing, she was in the right. I'm sorry. I don't like the idea of jackbooted thugs coming in and arresting people with illegal warrants just because I don't care if that person is a fucking murderer. That's why we have due process in this country.
If they came in with a legal warrant and the judge told them to leave, get out of the courtroom, I'm like, wait, that's obstruction of justice, Your Honor. But that was not a legal warrant.
Do you have an extra cigarilla or cigarette, whatever that is?
Hold on one second.
You're not getting my tobacco, kid. Oh, I need more coffee. Ooh.
Sorry, homeless person was asking for a cigarette, so I just gave him a cigarette.
I wanted to ask you
Dandelion.
something, Mike.
Type in and see that it was that till you know it was actually me.
I was going to ask Mike a question before you popped in, Dandelion.
I'm sorry, what's that?
I was going to ask Mike a question before you popped in, and well, it's
Go
actually
ahead,
a question
ask
for
me.
you as well.
Okay.
What do you think of the new merchandise being sold on the Trump store with a Trump hat that says Trump 2028?
I
don't
saw
care.
somebody did a Biden 2028, or not Biden, Obama 2028. And
Yeah, I
what
know.
the fuck? Does anything
See,
matter anymore?
okay, here's what I'm going to say about it. I don't care. You know why?
I don't think you're
Because
wrong.
one, anything can be argued for the reasoning behind it. They could say right now it's to make their base passionate about a third Trump run, but they can argue all they want that it's actually for Trump Jr. It's for the Trump platform. It's, I don't care. It doesn't matter right now.
Yep. Oh yeah, absolutely. It's more important to like deal with the shit that's happening in our faces.
So yeah, anyone who's really using that point to argue is stupid because it doesn't mean anything right now until it does.
It distracts from
Yeah.
more important things. Yeah, I got that.
Like, oh, I don't know, the children who are being deported because their parents are illegal, even if their children are American citizens.
Yeah.
So.
And B, it might be trolling, but you think he wouldn't go for another term if he decided to go for another term? Then you are deeper in the cult than we even thought. And B just made a comment.
I know. I saw it. I don't.
These are
See, that's what Trump is. He's a troll until he decides what he's trolling is actually something he's going to stand behind.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a marketing tool. And I will give Trump this. He's a good marketer. He's a shit businessman, but he's a good marketer.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think the government should be run like a business because it's a service, not a profit. It shouldn't be a profit-driven business. It should be, it's about service, and it should be a
casino. He bankrupted the casino.
No.
Well, now we know how and why.
Two. His former father-in-law's and the other one. So yeah, he bankrupted 2 casinos. I don't understand how you can bankrupt a casino, because even the ones in Vegas, the ones they tend to tear down, are not because they're losing money. It's because they can't afford to keep maintaining the property. They'd rather tear it down and build something bigger and better.
Yeah, Richie, they'll have elections because they'll want to maintain the patina of democracy. But they'll probably just eliminate more people from the voter registries, or pass their people whose current identification doesn't match their birth certificate off the registries, which eliminates most women who are married and changed their names. So,
well, I actually asked somebody about that because I'm like, should I be allowed to vote then? And they're like, why? Well, my birth certificate says my name is Steven, but I call myself Michael.
Yeah, look at JD Vance.
So should I be allowed to vote? And they were like, well, if it's not on your birth certificate, then no. I'm like, what does it matter?
Yeah.
And not only that, I don't know about you, but my sister was born in California. She lives in Virginia. She has no ability to get her birth certificate across the states. I had to go in there, and it took me weeks to get her fucking birth certificate because I had to get my birth certificate to show that I was related to my father, because my sister and I share a father, but we don't share a mother.
Mm-hmm.
I had to have her marriage license shipped to me because, again, she changed her name when she got married. So I had to have that. I had to have my dad's birth certificate in Texas because that's where he was born, to show that he was an American citizen. I had to have my federal ID, which at the time they allowed my military ID to be my federal ID, even though I was 26 and it technically expired when I was 25. But I was like, because I don't have a passport, I don't have any form of federal ID, and that real ID hadn't been implemented yet. This is, we're talking 15 years ago almost.
Yeah.
But it took me weeks to get my sister's birth certificate. And if you want to include the cost of my birth certificate, my father's birth certificate, the letter from Miramar that was saying that, yes, my military ID should be considered as a valid one, which meant my dad had to fucking contact one of his former COs at fucking Miramar, who's not even, he's not even a CO at the Miramar. He used to be a CO at Miramar. He just, when Miramar transferred over to, from Navy to Marine, they had put him in contact with another person at Miramar saying, yes, let him use his his expired military civilian ID as dependent ID as a federal ID. I mean, it was, if you want to add up all the costs of everything, it probably cost us about $500 to get her fucking birth certificate 15 years ago.
Yeah.
And that was just so she could take a goddamn cruise.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a little, no, he didn't. The court said he couldn't do that, Richie. And the thing I was actually going to say when I come on was actually that as far as all these crazy, like grabbing people off the streets deportation goes, Biden was deporting more people than Trump currently is.
Yes. And I don't necessarily agree with that either.
No, but I don't either. I'm an immigrant in the country I live in. So, I mean, yes, I'm a legal one. Well, I went through the processes and stuff.
But do you know, sorry, I want to say something. Do you know why we haven't heard anything about Biden's immigration policy? Is because when he ordered, he had ICE detain and arrest people, they actually showed ID. They had legal warrants. They were in uniform. They identified themselves. There was no illegal process about this.
No.
Now the Trump administration is ordering the ICE agents to go to people, plain clothes, they're not identifying themselves, they're not showing their badge, they're just roughing people up. Like, I'm waiting for somebody to backslap them and knock the shit out of somebody for grabbing them without identifying them and having them being charged for assaulting a federal officer. I'm like, I'm still waiting for this.
Yeah.
And yeah, Trump tried to do that, Richie. As of right now, the Supreme Court hasn't taken up the case, and they're deferring to the state legislators who said that it was unconstitutional.
Which it is.
When I was talking about the fact that he, with that pen stroke, the way it was originally written, it ended, or it got rid of two of my kids' citizenships because they were born on Indian reservations, not in the actual United States. So yes, as of right now, birthright citizenship is still valid.
The standard argument people say for what you just said was, you said Constitution. It's not in the Constitution. It's in the Bill of Rights.
It's in the Constitution.
Yeah, uneducated people. The Bill of Rights is an amendment to the Constitution, which means an adjournment, which means an addition, an amendment, addition. Hello, it adds onto it.
And it doesn't help, Richie, that basically the Supreme Court has said that as long as it's with presidential action, he can't be held liable in court for any of his actions.
The president cannot be charged for any crime while
he has to be held accountable by Congress, and of course, Congress is very unlikely to.
Congress is too fucking weak to do anything right now.
I think once, and again, his popularity numbers are going down, even amongst the right. And if they get low enough, Congress will see that and get a little harder, I think. So,
but the problem is there is surprisingly a large amount of bigots in this country.
oh yeah, absolutely.
And they're going to support him no matter what because they don't think they're wrong.
But it's hitting him in the pocketbook, which is what it's going to be doing. Because
that might be what does it. I mean, how many cattle ranches in Oklahoma have gone bankrupt because of the trade stuff so far?
Absolutely.
In case you guys are wondering, that image,
taking away the cheap labor, which they depend, like that, a lot of those, farms depend on. Taking away, like you're making it impossible to export things because of the reciprocal tariffs that other countries are putting on. And then there's also just the situation where people are boycotting. They're like, if I go to the store and I see, oh, this product's from the US and this same or similar product is from somewhere else, most people here are picking the somewhere else. I mean, I'm not as fussy because I realize most of that stuff's coming from Washington State and California. And
yeah.
You guys are a little more on the...
oh, God. I know this is really stupid. There was something that was online. One, it was about some guy saying that coffee's not going to go up because we'll just grow more coffee in Alaska.
He thought he could grow coffee in Alaska?
And
isn't Hawaii your only state you can grow coffee in?
Okay.
And it's pretty
Hawaii,
much
California is the only state you can actually technically grow.
Hold on. According to the statistics, 1% of all coffee consumed in the United States is grown domestically.
Yeah.
Of that 1%, 99% of it is grown in Hawaii.
Yeah.
With about 1% grown in California.
On a positive note, you can grow a coffee plant as a house plant and kind of do like the, marijuana thing, to have a homegrown coffee. I'm sure you'll get 1 cup of coffee a year from that.
There's also the fact that it takes about 4 years for a coffee plant to be able to produce coffee beans.
Somebody's out there. Go to that... there's like online plant selling places. They'll sell you a plant. It's probably already a year or so old. You can shave a good 3 years off that timeline.
I know there's free seeds you can get online for carrots and tomatoes and shit.
Well, yeah. Tomatoes are one thing, but
keep your fingers crossed for us here in Canada.
Coffee is incredibly fickle.
And it's pretty tight.
I mean, one of the reasons that Arabica coffee has dominated is because the plant is the hardiest of the 3 or 4 varieties of coffee bean.
Dude, I usually buy a pound of Folgers coffee, mild roast, right? Cost me $9. The other day at the store, it was $12. I'm like, wow.
Well, and if you want to know how expensive California coffee is, because of how little is grown here, a cup of coffee of California grown coffee will cost you about $40.
That's why I have my own coffee pot.
So I'm just letting you know, if you think California is going to be able to provide coffee for the rest of the country, which remember, California provides 0.1% of all coffee grown in the United States. $40 a cup. I'm already bitching about my $2.19 cup.
Roasted dandelion makes a lovely alternative to coffee.
I need my caffeine though.
I know there's no caffeine in it. They'd have to add caffeine to it or something.
It'll be even worse for me, Dandelion, because Mrs. Vile will tell you what I like in my coffee is French vanilla creamer.
Oh.
Now, if I want natural vanilla flavoring, do you have any idea how much natural vanilla is produced in the United States?
Is there any? Is it from those weird orchids?
Again, it's one of those next to zero.
You can also grow a vanilla orchid in your house. I mean, you'll have to set up a special environment for it. But
okay, do you know how much vanillin you can get from a single vanilla or from a vanilla orchid?
Oh, barely any. I am well aware of the limitations of such things. There's solutions if you need them.
Well, I'm not a purist when it comes to my vanilla. I don't really need fully natural vanilla. I'm okay with vanillin extract. I'm sorry, vanillin, artificially produced vanillin. It's literally the same molecule. I don't care.
Yeah.
But, and a good chunk of that is made in the United States. About 50% of what we consume for vanilla, artificial vanilla, is consumed, made here in the United States.
Right.
But even then, that's still only 50%. We still import a vast amount from Europe and China.
Yeah, Torani even said their prices are going to go up slightly, although they rarely do. I mean, they said, well, due to Trump's imports, our prices for our syrups are going to go up a little bit.
Yeah. Weirdly, a lot of my grocery prices, when I went out yesterday to go grocery shopping, a whole bunch of prices had come down in the last week. So that made me happy.
Eggs are still $8 to $9 here.
And I'm going to just go back to one of the things MB put in the private chat. All absentee ballots are mail-in, dude. It's the same word applying to both things. Or both words is the same process. Mail-in, absentee, they're the same thing. So that's all I'm going to say about that. But yeah, when it comes to the other stuff, what I was talking about, the children having to represent themselves in court. I'm sorry, what the fuck? Why is a 2-year-old trying to represent himself in court? Why doesn't he get some sort of public defender? I'm sure I didn't go into it too much because I was just already disgusted by it. But what was the reasoning behind having a 2-year-old go to an immigration court hearing without any representation?
Yeah, that was kind of weird.
Oh, yeah. We're going to put a tariff on all chemical vats in the country. Beer is going to be through the roof.
Well, there's a reason why he wants Greenland. I mean, basically Greenland, the ice has been melting, which is permafrost has been slowly degrading, which is causing more cleaving. There's normally no balance between snow and the ice fall, but there's been a lack of snow in the past 50 years, which means more ice has been cleaving off of Greenland, which means more land's been exposure, which means easier to drill. Which basically, layman terms, it's been going about 12 to 15 feet a day. It's the fastest landmass disappearance on this planet so far. Greenland is becoming easier and easier to get natural
ice,
earth.
not land.
Yeah, so ice. Yeah, Greenland is becoming easier and easier to mine natural earth minerals, and the Dutch government's like, okay, we need to protect this. No, they recently signed extra legislation to protect this because they want to protect the land.
Yeah.
Trump wants to go after that because it's easier for Greenland to get the natural resources because of fucking China.
I think that is going to be a bonus for it. I don't think that's the original reason he was going for it. I think he wanted the NATO base there because that NATO base is basically one of the primary reasons we're able to detect any Russian activity in the North Atlantic. Or sorry, not North Atlantic, Arctic Circle. And if the United States controls it and is the only one who controls it, we can add more pressure to Putin to make him do what we want.
I'm sorry, personally, I don't think Trump was thinking military strategics when he was thinking about Greenland. I think he was thinking about money.
No, I think it was more. No, I think the real reason he wants it is because it looks big on a map, and he wants to be responsible for adding territory to the U.S. That's why.
Half the size of Texas, please.
That's why I think he honestly wants it.
Tell me to stop looking at the Mercator projection.
he's been told other reasons why the United States need it. That's why he's going. What he's saying publicly.
But the dumb thing is, it's not like you don't already have a military base there, and that they wouldn't be perfectly happy to let a good partner have a bigger military base there. There's no need to own it. Why have all the responsibility for the people who live there when you can have all the benefits without having to like it just doesn't make any sense, even from an economic point of view. And it's not like they probably wouldn't allow for like resource extraction. It's just weird.
No, if you want to think about what's stupid, I'm still reeling over the fact that they wanted to rename the District of Columbia to the District of America because the DC is nowhere near the country of Colombia.
But it's not.
And to change New Mexico to New America.
Oh, me and Mrs. Vile were talking about that. We could not tell if that was satire or not. We had a debate between the two of us. Was that satire? Was that true? Is it, we tried to do a little bit of searching, but we did not fucking know. And how sad is it when you really cannot tell the difference between satire anymore?
True enough.
Because for those that don't know, the reason DC is called the District of Columbia has nothing to do with Colombia, the country.
Colombia.
It has to do with the fact that
Columbus.
in the early United States, we created our own goddess. We called that goddess Columbia. She was meant to be like an addition to the Greek and Roman pantheons, but to represent the Americas, named after Christopher Columbus.
The statue is on top of the rotunda of the Capitol building. You know where that light goes on when they're in session? That statue.
It's a fake goddess, yes, but it's meant to be a metaphorical one. Literally the representation of liberty. A concept that didn't necessarily exist for the Roman and Greek pantheons. That's why it's named DC, District of Columbia.
Speaking of liberty, I'm surprised Macron hasn't demanded the Statue of Liberty to be returned.
Well, they jokingly said that, but
yeah.
I mean, it's not like what's written on the Statue of Liberty matters anymore.
I know. Give us your rich. We'll give you a gold card with my face on it.
I think it was one of your posts on Twitter that I responded to when someone was like, well, we're not against immigration. They just have to come through a legal port of entry. And I was just like, okay, when we're talking about the Statue of Liberty, when that was written, every port of entry was legal. It's like, yeah, but notice you're saying port of entry, legal port of entry. I'm like, okay, you could cross anywhere across the Canadian or Mexican borders, and that was legal when that was written.
In order to come to the country legally, you had to either get here by train, plane, or boat. You didn't need a passport. You arrived, you're in America. Hello.
So, yeah, and then there was a naturalization process. That's why we had Ellis Island, because so many people were coming in through New York because it was a major trade hub. And of course, have you guys, do you guys watch Mr. Global on TikTok?
I don't have a TikTok, remember.
Okay. One of the things he was pointing out with how great the trade war is going is he was looking at these satellite images from Los Angeles and New York versus the satellite images of Shanghai right now. And this will be the last thing I talk about on the pre-show politics stream. Los Angeles ports are the largest ports in the United States for trade. And they are virtually empty. Their traffic is cut down by almost 90%. New York's is the second largest trade hub when it comes to ports and shipping. Theirs has dropped almost 50%. Shanghai's has increased 20%. And that's both imports and exports.
You know, I wanted to say something about the children and ICE thing before you ended the show.
All right, quickly.
Okay, I just wanted to let people notice that this is a fact. April 25th, ICE deported 3 U.S. citizens' children aged 2, 4, and 7 from Louisiana. One has metastatic cancer and was deported without medication.
Yeah.
One mother was pregnant. Reports from American Voice and Rolling Stone confirmed families were held incommunicado, denied legal access, and deported before court actions.
Oh, I'll briefly mention because the last, literally the last thing we talk about, because I want to go get more coffee.
I gotta go feed the goats.
Richie, when you're talking about the empty store shelves, some of the stores that I work at, they are already feeling the issues when it comes to supplies, and they are putting out a lot of the stuff that they used to not put out because they are so afraid of having empty shelves in appearance right now. So they're literally packing the shelves with stuff they know is not going to sell just to make the appearance of it not being empty.
Yeesh.
One of my stores has cut their grocery section from 10 aisles to 9, literally because they can't keep up with keeping the grocery shelves stocked.
Damn.
So, and it's actually created some issues because some of my clients are like, hey, we were guaranteed, 4 feet of shelf space, and now you've cut it down to 2 feet. It doesn't matter that our products aren't on the shelves. We want customers to think that our products are selling.
Jeez.
So, all right. On that note, I'm going to end the stream. I'm going to go get more coffee, and I'll see you guys on the CNA stream.
Oh, and keep your fingers crossed for Canada in our election tomorrow. That the Pierre Poilievre does not get to be the leader because
no more bankers.
In the same boat you're in.
Yeah, no more bankers.
Anyway.
Yeah, it's a shitstorm.
Yeah, cray. All right, well, see you in a bit.
Later.
I probably won't stay for long. I'm doing a roundtable later today, and on that Andor show, and apparently there's 3 freaking episodes to watch, which I had not realized, and I have watched 20 minutes of the first one, and they're all almost an hour, and I'm like, oh no.
Well, as I said, I've only watched 3 episodes of Daredevil. I haven't watched any of Andor.
We can talk about that in a bit.
All right, later.
All right, go get your coffee.
Yeah, I got Jaloja.